Welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss the latest in film and television and then do it all over again the following week. My name is Colton Brown, and joining me is Andrew Meadows.
Hello, sir. How are you this afternoon?
Hello. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well now that I went through all the length of retrieving you from the Soul Stone. Bringing you back.
And you were wrong.
Baby.
Everybody was wrong. It is like a Walmart return policy.
And you specify that yours had that sort of policy, so I was relying on your advice, and alas, here you are, back on the podcast, here to stay. I think
that's it.
We're back. I think we're trying to get back into the swing of things. I mean, I can tell you a little bit about my life if you'd like. Done with fucking 1L. First year of law school, officially in the books. Exams, done. Everything else, done. Summer, begun. Boom.
Nice.
I mean, I'm here. It's great. I'm doing some stuff over the summer that's going to keep me busy and such, but I think the hope is that we can get this bad boy back on track. I know our release schedule has been pretty wonky, and unfortunately, the amount of time that I was spending on the things that actually the things that the time should have actually been spent on, kind of made the schedule for the podcast pretty behind. So we're playing catch up, but we're here now, and this is step one. It's going to be a process, so just bear with us, but I can promise you a barrage of content over probably the next month or so, just trying to play catch up, try to get everything back on track. And then, I mean, it's work for us, but it's just more goodies for the listeners. So I think they're going to reap the rewards. Their patience will have rewarded them, hopefully. If they like the podcast. If they're listening, they probably do. So I want to talk about Game of Thrones because I think that's probably the biggest hurdle we have to clear over the next few weeks. It's probably the biggest project we're going to undertake. Of course, we're going to be talking about all the movies that are coming out / have came out. But Game of Thrones, the series, the Game of Thrones, the entire series has concluded as of recording this episode.
In a spectacular fashion.
And in a fashion that certain adjectives could be used about it.
We'll talk about it.
But we will talk about it, and we will talk about it. Honestly, we'll probably mention it in passing here and there over the next few episodes, but we do intend to finish our long gestating project to rewatch the entirety of Game of Thrones. Hopefully our listeners have had a chance to listen to the Season 4 episode, which has been on the feed for a couple days as of recording this. And I can tell you right now that Season 5 is going to be joining it very soon. I can tell you that we're going to be recording on Season 6 very soon, and it will be joining it as soon as possible. And that just leaves Seasons 7 and 8, which neither of which are going to be Patreon timed exclusives, other than the time it takes between recording and editing it. We know that we're behind schedule by a lot, and so the goal is to try to get everything out as soon as possible. But we don't want to rush it out the door. We certainly still want to give it a full effort, even if our spirits have been deflated, maybe just a little bit by the occurrences in this final season. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on an episode in the future. So look forward to that. Of course, if you're still continuing your rewatch with us, then keep pace, and we'll be stepping it up pretty soon. So that's Game of Thrones. That's what's going on in Game of Thrones. We're not talking about Game of Thrones on this episode. We're talking about Pokémon Detective Pikachu, which I think has been out for guess probably going on a couple weeks now. So like I said, we're playing catch up, but we're making our way slowly but surely, and here we are. We are here with the Pokemon. We're here with a little Pikachu, not voiced by Danny DeVito, but voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
It would have been better with Danny DeVito. That would have been excellent.
Yeah, we can just go ahead and say it at the top. I mean, obviously, anything with Danny DeVito is automatically better.
Oh man,
because of his involvement.
Remind me to bring it up in spoilers.
Something we'll come back to. We'll come back to it. I think I know what you're talking about, and I think I have a similar thought, but we'll talk about it. Do you want to talk about a fun fact?
I do
you
have a fun fact.
Oh, okay. I didn't check with you before we recorded, so I was putting you on the spot there, and I appreciated that you stepped up to the plate. You're back in full force.
I actually have 3 fun facts.
Holy shit! Who the
So
fuck is this
you
man?
can kind of pick what kind of fun fact you like. They're not. I mean, they're related to the Pokemon movie, but they're not from the Pokemon movie. So it's just about Pokemon, which is kind of cool. First fun fact: Pokemon is short for pocket monster, which that's a fact.
It's true. I mean, it is. It's a fact. And you know what? I'm gonna issue a hot take right here.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun fact. I think
That's
it's fun,
pretty fun.
and it's a fact. So boom, hits all the qualifications. Very good. Fun fact number 1 in the books. What else you got for me?
Fun
our
fact
listeners.
number 2, and I thought this was pretty interesting. The first Pokemon ever made, like the first one that they made in studio or in whatever, was Rhydon.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Not. I don't think a commonly thought of Pokemon. I think you and I have played a good amount of Pokemon in our day, so
Yeah.
we know who Rhydon is. Did you know that they I forget what I think there's Rhydon's the evolution, right, of something else.
Oh, maybe I think in future games. I don't know.
No. So I think well, there's 3 of them now, but I think there was 2 in the OG like 151 Pokemon, and then they made a third one maybe a few
That's right.
generations later,
It
which
evolved
is like
from
the most
Rhyhorn.
horrifyingly shitty thing. Like it just like absolutely ruined the evolutionary chain. So that's my counter fun fact is Game Freak fucked up that thing there.
Yeah, so it
Rhyperior.
starts
What
out
a
as
piece of shit.
Yeah, Rhyhorn evolves
Rhyhorn,
into
that's the-
Rhydon, and then Rhyperior.
Right, look at Rhyperior. What a fucking stupid looking Pokemon.
That's terrible.
Fucked it. Doesn't even look like it belongs with it. Anyway, third fun fact.
Third fun fact: Mew, which was a like the legendary of most legendary Pokemon in like the first 3 games. He I started this off wrong. Ditto, the little blob Pokemon that turns into other Pokemon or turns into
Right.
any Pokemon really.
Yep.
He is actually in Pokemon lore the failed attempt to copy Mew.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Little fun fact for
All
you.
right. Well, I feel like you started out with like a pretty lukewarm fun fact. I mean, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. I was like, oh boy,
Hope they get better.
oh boy,
from
he's
that.
he's not coming out strong to start with, but you made up for it. Those are 2
Interesting
out of 3
fun facts.
2 out of 3 legitimately facts that I did not know.
Hey, dude,
and
now you know.
if you can stump me, I'm willing to bet you stumped a few listeners as well, and that's cool. That's cool. It's what we strive to do. You know, we've been trying to recapture the magic of the gherkin for so
gherkin.
long, and
We're
I think
probably
that,
not
I think
there
that,
yet.
I think that might be hitting on the same level of factoids and truth bombs and such. It's very good. It's very good.
Striving for
Well,
excellence. You heard it here first.
We are playing catch up on news. So a lot of the news, actually, I think every bit of news that we're going to be talking about on this episode is from, I think, kind of tail end of April towards early May, and then we'll be slowly kind of getting back up to the present by the time we record our next couple episodes. So some of this might be old hat for you guys, but we haven't had a chance to issue some of our thoughts on the record because there's a lot of stuff. I think everything here is going to be worth talking about. Otherwise, I guess why would I bother putting it into the news in the first place? You know. But I want to start with recognition of a great contributor to Star Wars who passed away on April 30th earlier this year, and that is Mr. Peter Mayhew, the original actor for Chewbacca, who again passed away at age 74. Played Chewbacca in the original trilogy, I think partially in The Force Awakens, before turning over the role to Eunice Suetamo, who's played him since. And I mean, this is, I think everywhere you turned, you know, after he died, anyone that was involved in the production of Star Wars, kind of posted their bit, their memory of Peter Mayhew, and everyone kind of had this common sentiment of like he was just the sweetest man. He was, the quintessential gentle giant that you think of, and there's a lot of really, really heartfelt messages, and it's clear that it was a man that loved playing the role of Chewbacca. It's clear that his involvement on the set of Star Wars, all the Star Wars movies that he participated in, had a profound impact on all of the cast members, surely all the crew as well. Chewbacca, what is an iconic character. I think, regardless of your your hot takes on Star Wars, who the fuck Chewbacca is. Mm-hmm. You'd recognize that walking carpet anywhere, and it's Peter Mayhew. You see it in Chewbacca's eyes. Like those are Peter Mayhew's eyes that shine through and brought life to Chewbacca for so long, for so many people, for us. And so it was really sad to hear about his passing. So that's my 2 cents on Peter Mayhew. I know he was really. I think he did a lot of stuff with like the conventions and stuff, Star Wars conventions. He was really happy to engage with fans, and I know that he's had health issues, which basically prevented him from continuing in the role in a way that I'm sure he would have loved to otherwise. And I know he was actually a relatively prolific Redditor. He responded to just a lot of just random Star Wars related stuff on Reddit, and honestly, just like the most like ridiculously nice way possible, like just a genuinely good dude, and like just like a random comment on like a random Star Wars thread about anything, and he just threw in a couple sentences about like his little slice of life with regard to Star Wars, and like if he didn't respond to anything I comment. I don't really comment on Reddit or anything like that, but if I said something on Reddit and fucking Peter Mayhew responded to me and just did that, like that's going on the wall. That made my fucking more than make my day. So I think it's a real loss. So rest in peace to Mr. Peter Mayhew, who will forever be immortalized in Star Wars, and that's a legacy to leave behind, to be proud of. So that's that. We have some Disney stuff we can talk about, which of course has a little bit of synergy there with the whole Star Wars thing.
That's it. I'll start with some Disney news.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I was hesitant, and you
picked up on
it. You took the mic. So what you got? What you got for us?
So we all know Disney recently purchased Fox. And in this acquisition of Fox, they gained a significant share, I'm pulling it up right now, of a little streaming service called Hulu.
Yeah, they gained a majority share in it, which still meant that it was shared with other companies.
But yes, there's a big but here. Other companies have slowly been selling off their shares to Disney post this acquisition, and Comcast just sold their 33%, which gives Disney full control of Hulu.
Sort of. They haven't sold it yet, but basically they've ceded operational control with the understanding that Disney will eventually purchase that ownership interest in the future. So there's still a sort of partnership as of now, where all the NBC Universal content is still on Hulu, but you could bet you could bet your bottom dollar that within a few years' time it's going to be pulled off the service as Disney gets the mouse gets their grubby little mitts all over Hulu. So it's a pretty big deal. I mean, obviously Disney has Disney Plus coming out in half a year's time, which seems like it's building to be a really great value streaming service. And now they got this under their belt, so it's an interesting move, right?
Yeah. I was actually, I was trying to think about how, like, if they have Hulu, why invest the money in a second streaming service with Disney Plus? Apparently here, they're hoping, according to this article in Variety, It's a direct-to-consumer strategy, and Hulu will be serving up more adult-oriented entertainment, whereas Disney Plus is going to be targeted toward a different audience, I guess. And then, plus, they have ESPN Sport package. And Disney says it's likely to trio, or it's likely to have all three services bundled together at some point. So you buy into like a sort of platform, I guess, and get these three different streaming services, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good strategy, or at least
it sounds
I would
like
think it
almost
is.
like it's
Otherwise,
gonna be-
why would they go through the effort of all this? I mean,
Sounds like it's almost going to be like a Crunchyroll. Have you ever used Crunchyroll?
not. I know what it is, but I've never used it.
Or not Crunchyroll, I'm sorry, VRV. VRV has Crunchyroll.
Okay, yes,
It's got...
okay. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like what they're going for, I think. Which is kind of neat.
Yeah,
It's pretty neat.
with that package type thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Disney Plus obviously has the Disney branding all over it, and so you can expect that they're not going to want to put, the more adult type stuff. But they got a lot of Fox properties and stuff like that. So if they ever want to branch out with that, put Fox movies on a streaming service. If they're putting out a PG-13 or rated R Fox movie, which seems likely, Hulu seems like an obvious place to put that. Hulu has a lot of original series. Like, does The Handmaid's Tale go on Disney Plus? Probably not.
Right.
And assuming that show continues for the foreseeable future, shows of its ilk, even something like The Runaways, maybe that's something more suited for a slightly more adult profile. I mean, I don't think they're gonna be making Hulu into HBO anytime soon or anything like that. But it does make sense to kind of have the capability to capture different sections of the market, and Hulu is, I think a lot of it probably too is Hulu's an established brand. People know Hulu. People have Hulu. A lot of people have Hulu, and so the hope is that you retain those people and then entice them with more shit. I think the problem they might run into is I think a lot of people still view Hulu as the day after kind of streaming service. Is like, oh, I missed the episode of TV, let me watch that today, and I wonder if Disney's going to try to keep that part of it intact. I just feel like the way Hulu was structured before, with so many stakes in it, that was kind of what kept it alive on that front. It's not like every network did it.
Well, now they have
that
the
was
live
kind of
TV
kind of a
thing, too.
time before like everyone wanted to have their own streaming service. So like Comcast is going to have their own in the future. It's inevitable, I think that's the direction it's going to go. Is that it's going to be more content based as opposed to replay TV type based.
Right.
The basis that it's probably thrived on for years until they kind of started to invest into their original platform, into their original material and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal. Disney
Buying more shit
to make waves and buy shit, and kind of potentially change the landscape. First it was the the traditional theatrical studios with that Fox acquisition. Now they're between Disney Plus and Hulu, shaking up the streaming game, I think. So it's Disney.
Man.
We're
going to own all of entertainment.
I guess at this point we should probably expect nothing less from Disney than making their presence known.
Crazy.
So, speaking of Disney things, I have some stuff that I can add to Disney, particularly with regard to the Fox acquisition, and some Disney standalone type stuff as well. So they released a schedule, basically a release slate of a lot of films that stretches technically all the way through 2027, although most of it is stuff coming out in the near future, just dates and stuff like that. So a lot of like what is set for this year is basically just affirming what Fox had originally planned with most of their releases. So like Dark Phoenix, unfortunately, still getting released early June. So all the Fox stuff seems pretty intact. Nothing really surprising as far as what they're doing in 2019. 2020 is where things get a little bit more interesting. We know that the Kingsman, I think, prequel is now coming early February. I think that was at one point set for 2019. Now that's been officially pushed back. The New Mutants is apparently still getting a fucking theatrical release date, but it still got delayed a fucking again for I think the third time. So it's been at least, I think, 2 years since they put that teaser trailer in theaters, and supposedly it'll be out April 3rd, 2020. That feels like a prime dump on Hulu candidate, so we'll see if that holds, I guess. But other than that,
fuck it, dump it on Hulu.
They have a lot of placeholder dates for Untitled Disney Marvel. We got 2 in 2020, and I think 3 every year for sure through 2022, and of course there'll probably be more beyond that in 2023. A lot of Untitled Disney live actions beyond what's already been announced. So of course Lion King, Mulan, the Jungle Cruise, Cruella, which I think is Emma Stone kind of doing a thing. Oh, and Maleficent, which got a trailer, but I didn't think you cared, so I didn't think.
I watched it.
I didn't. What?
I watched
you
it.
Did?
It looked like hot shit.
I kind of figured we'd have a consensus, just be like, okay, and then move on. So here we go. We've now expressed our thoughts on the record. I think there's 2 properties that have the most interesting things happening with release dates. So Star Wars, something we've already talked about already. They've set 3 Star Wars movies to release starting in 2022 and then releasing every other year. So we got 2022, 2024, and 2026. December releases for Untitled Star Wars, which the word on the street.
Our Game of Thrones.
The word on the street is that at least the first one is going to be the first and theoretically a trilogy of movies to be written by Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff, D.B. Weiss, who are just on top of the world after their rousing success with Game of Thrones season 8. So that's something to look forward to. Maybe an Old Republic series. I don't know. I think we do know that they should not be allowed in the writer's room. I think we know that for a fact. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll just get fired from it in full Colin Trevorrow, Josh Trank, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller style. That would be all right in my books. So that's what's going on the Star Wars front. I have to imagine that the Rian Johnson stuff is still happening soon. I know Last Jedi is polarizing, etc., but it's well received, made a lot of money, and also it was good. Hot take or whatever, but so I would have to think that Lucasfilm is still keen on having Rian Johnson do his own thing, and I think Knives Out comes out later this year, so he should be relatively free in terms of scheduling. But I guess he has to write the thing first. And Rian Johnson might want to spend some time writing his things, whereas David Benioff and D.B. Weiss might say, hey, we got 2 days. We're fucking golden, dudes. We're golden. We're golden. Avatar. Avatar 2 has been delayed a year to 2021, December 17th, 2021. And then subsequently, it will fill in the December dates for years where Star Wars does not have a release date. So 2023, 2025, and 2027, you can expect Avatar 3 through 5. Why? Because James Cameron is an absolute fucking madman. That's why.
Man.
If it was anyone else, I am kind of at the point where I'm like, really, dude? Really? This Avatar? Really? That's what you're going to make fucking 5 movies of? I mean, but it made almost $3 billion at the box office. And for the longest time, I've maintained that like Avatar 2 won't make half of that. And I think that's still probably going to be the case. But there's a part of me where I'm just like, I don't know.
It's Cameron.
I don't know. Like you don't make that much money without some people really fucking liking your movie. And even though it came out 10 years ago, like I don't know. Has it been long enough? I just for me,
have you met anybody that's totally fucking wrapped up in Avatar?
I don't think so, but
I've never met anybody.
Like I've said,
that
look at how much money that movie made. I mean, just absolute insanity in terms of the box office, and I don't know. I just don't see it reaching those heights because they're ridiculous. But I don't know. Like, are we going to doubt James Cameron? Like,
I was talking to a guy that
I just don't know. I just don't know I don't know how to feel about it.
The guy that cuts my hair, the barber. He worked at a movie theater when Avatar came out, and he was talking about how how the movie never left theaters. It was always there. And he said that when it started to taper off, Cameron released a director's cut, and it was like an extra 15-20 minutes or whatever, and it revitalized the whole thing, and it was there forever again.
That's what happened with Titanic as well. It was just something that like it never was like making, you know, Avengers type amount of money, but it just never dropped. And like once it stabilized at like something extremely like profitable. And it wasn't just that. Avatar did exceptionally well in America, but it did fucking bonkers numbers overseas, like unthinkable numbers. And it's like, I think it made either over $2 billion overseas alone, or like basically just under it. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie. I haven't seen it in a while myself, but I just don't know. I mean, obviously, Disney opened up Pandora, the Animal Kingdom stuff. I think that's pretty popular. I've never been, but it's probably pretty cool and all. But it's just like, I just don't know that. I don't know. I mean, it was Fox that basically already said that they're committing to 19 Avatar movies. So it's basically Disney just kind of assuming that. And if you're Disney, you're I would kind of just be at the point where like, we're just gonna let James Cameron do his thing. Dude's rolling in money. So maybe, you know, between Titanic and Avatar, who are we to doubt this man? You know, like fuck it. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if Avatar 2 disappoints in some way if they reconfigure plans beyond that point. But at this point, I feel like it would send a bad message if they're just like, no, we're just going to do one Avatar sequel and figure it out from there. Like I feel like that would generate some backlash. So anyway, that's Disney.
Avatar.
That's Disney. Yeah. Avatar, Star Wars, all of the above. Disney. What the fuck?
Always something.
It's always something with those clowns over there. Those mouses, those mice,
crazy mice.
Yeah. So let me. I got one last piece of news, and then we just got trailers. So we'll I think we'll do that. That way we can save some fun trailer type stuff for last for the news. We talked about Disney. We talked about Hulu. And now we're going to talk about Marvel, which, as you may know, is actually owned by Disney as well. So Marvel and Hulu are partnering again, and this time they're set to debut two series based off of Marvel Comics characters. Of course, following the likes of the Runaways, and I believe it's the animated stuff that's coming to Hulu as well. The Offenders, like the Howard the Duck, MODOK stuff, like all that's, I think I'm pretty sure Hulu. These are two live action series coming to Hulu. First one, I'd say maybe the one that I'm less excited about is called Helstrom, based off of, I guess, a comic book series called Helstrom from Marvel, which is about Damon and Anna Helstrom, who are the son and daughter of a mysterious and powerful serial killer that have a complicated dynamic as they track down the terrorizing worst of humanity. So there's that. But I think the one
is it a superhero thing?
I think so. I don't really know anything about it other than, you know, I mean, It's Marvel. There's like a picture in this article of him, and he's got looks like a pentagram or something on his chest and shit.
Oh shit!
So I don't know what's going on with that, but I know what's going on with the other series they're making. They're making fucking Ghost Rider. Ooh. Ghost Rider's getting his own show.
My skull feels like it's on fire.
I feel like my skull's on fire, but otherwise I'm all right.
Yeah, that's it.
Back to hell. Good old Ghost Rider. No. This will not be a continuation of the Nicolas Cage goodness. This will be a continuation of the Ghost Rider that we saw in none other than Agents of Motherfucking S.H.I.E.L.D.
That was a good Ghost Rider. I like that Ghost Rider. How'd you feel about that Ghost Rider?
I like that Ghost Rider a lot. Robbie Reyes, as portrayed by Gabriel Luna, who will be reprising his role for the series. My understanding is that it's going to be separated from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the sense that I don't think we'll expect to see any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. pop up in the show. but I think it's supposed to be the same character, just maybe a couple years down the line, maybe a prequel or something like that. I know they somewhat delved into his origin and S.H.I.E.L.D. itself, but it sounds like it's going to be separated enough that even if you didn't see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., your mistake, not mine. Then you can you can hop on probably with episode 1 and get it, which I think is a good approach. And I'm glad that they're not just doing like a clean reset. I think that would be a mistake. I think it's really cool that they're bringing back Luna, who was great in that season. I personally have been hankering for them to bring the Ghost Rider character back to S.H.I.E.L.D. for the longest time. I will happily take this as a substitute for that. So fuck yeah, chains are rattling, baby. And I'm ready for it. We're both here for it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What else?
Question for you. I have a question for you.
Oh, you got a question.
I am a subscriber of the Hulu. I have it so I can watch live TV sometimes. I'm probably paying entirely too much for that service, but I digress. Anyways, I was on there scrolling through the thing, and I saw that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on there.
That's right. Started back up. I think it's 2 episodes in. I haven't watched either.
2 episodes in? Okay, I know what I'm doing after the podcast then.
All right. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Anyways.
So, yes. It's a truncated season. I think it's only 13 this season.
Good.
But
I like
we know we're getting another 13 next year, so it's fine. So, yes. So we've got some trailers. We've got some trailers to talk about.
We do.
What do you got? You got something lined up for me, right?
We got a really well shot Legion trailer.
We did, yeah.
I liked it a lot. I thought
a minute
it was cool.
of typical zaniness that we come to expect from Legion.
At one point, he has his comic book hair, which is pretty fucking cool. Did you see that?
Yeah, I also saw a little Professor X action, very briefly. Ooh,
I didn't see that.
I also saw Aubrey Plaza being ridiculously awesome, and
she's cool,
pretty cool as well for a bit of this. Yeah, so I still haven't watched all of season 2, and so I initially was like kind of hesitant to like watch this trailer, and then I was just like, it's fucking Legion, like it's not going to make sense anyway.
Know, right?
Like I'm sure the series itself, like the show itself, will be totally cool and make sense and stuff like that. But I was just like, there's no way a Legion season 3 trailer is going to spoil season 2. Like for me, like I just don't think it will. But I think season 2 is on Hulu. Speaking of also, things also on Hulu, so that's something that I would like to finish up because I started it when it aired, and then I just didn't get around to finishing it. So it's on the list. It's on the extensive list, the post Game of Thrones list. Got to get our priorities straight. Got to burn through it as fast as possible, so we can get to the good stuff. Or maybe we got to the good stuff. I don't know. Maybe we didn't. We didn't get to any good stuff, but. Yeah, Legion Season 3, the final season of Legion, we should say as well, which premieres June 24th, so it's, as of recording, just over a month away. I'm not sure how long it'll be, but I think probably 8-10. I think they've been kind of shorter seasons.
Yeah.
And I know you liked Season 2 pretty well, yeah?
I did. I like the show.
It's been a while since it aired, probably close to a year since it finished, I would guess, yeah, so.
Yeah, but I like it. It's a good show.
And this looks like more of the same, more Legion goodness. Looks better, looks interesting, looks different. I don't know. I mean, you're the man with more perspective on it than myself. So,
well, I mean, this trailer seemed kind of the teaser trailer seemed kind of tame in regards to like conventional.
Well, maybe they're holding back.
They're probably holding back because the shit gets pretty crazy. Especially you don't know because you didn't see it. Things get really fucking weird. Anyways, good stuff. I'm excited. Tell you what else I'm excited for.
Okay, tell me.
The It Chapter 2 teaser trailer, which is almost like it's almost like just like a clip. I think
mostly, yeah. It's like 85% is a clip, and then there's a little bit of a like a hype reel at the end to get you back on board. Although I don't know, I'd say I've been on board for this pretty much since they announced it, since they announced the stellar cast. Yeah, for sure. And then I really liked the. See, it's one of those things. Like I would have loved to have seen that scene, even though it's probably cut down to some extent.
I'm sure.
I think they probably gave us most of what the the weirdness of that scene. Like there might be a couple more things that are like a little bit more off kilter, but I think we got probably most of what's going to be in the final product. So that would have been interesting to see that in the final film itself. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, well, most of this trailer is like 2 minutes out of a presumably close to 2 hour movie. So you really haven't seen shit other than like one extended sequence, it's an interesting marketing strategy. And I thought that it was pretty effective. I thought it was pretty fucking terrifying. I liked all of that. I think that was pretty great. And
I watched it in bed. I saw it pop up in my Facebook feed, and it was dark in the room. I was fixing to go to bed. I fucking clicked on it, and I was in some wine there, and I was watching it, and the shit like was literally. I was watching it on like a little 5-inch screen, but the shit was legitimately scary. Like I think it's going to be a pretty terrifying movie. I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
Very excited.
27 years after the events of It Chapter 1, bringing in fucking stellar cast: Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, Bill Hader. I think probably the 3 biggest names at the top of the bill, and then all the kids are back as well, in some capacity. I assume flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I think that's a strong move. Same director, Andy Muschietti, coming back. It's been a while, I guess, since the first It came out. Would have been 2017. One of the first few episodes we did, if I recall correctly. The first time we ever did a little fun skit in front of the episode, with Pennywise the dancing clown. I think Georgie made an appearance as well. Yeah, that's right. As portrayed by Daryl Meadows, genius actor, voice actor as well. He's stellar.
Jack of all trades,
all
they say.
So yeah, It Chapter 2, I think it looks fucking great. Very excited for it. September 6th, 2019, only a few months away. We don't have long to wait at all. I think it's going to make a lot of fucking money is what I think. I know that first one made some serious bank, and like for like R-rated horror, I think this one's going to break records.
I could see
records
it.
which I think are already owned by the first It. So like it's there. You got Bill Skarsgård coming back as Pennywise in some capacity, which is cool. I think that's a smart move. So yeah, I'm all in, baby. I am all in.
I've got one other trailer.
All right. Are you saving best for last? Is that what's happening? I kind of feel... I don't know. It was pretty fucking good. But anyway, you have something.
Watchmen teaser came out. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this?
Wow, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it's an interesting teaser.
That's all I got.
I will say, I guess much in the same way that I feel about Legion, no idea what the fuck's going on.
No.
This one, not because I'm a season behind, but because I really just honestly don't know what Lindelof has in mind with this. My understanding is that this is a sequel of sorts to the graphic novel. Nothing to do with the Zack Snyder movie.
Direct sequel to the comic.
Takes place, I guess, presumably maybe a decade or two after the events of the graphic novel, after Ozymandias's grand plan with Squid and such, and how that played out in the graphic novel, and this is now the world as a result of that. But I don't know. I mean, there's the Rorschach wannabes in the beginning. There's Jeremy Irons, who I believe is playing a certain Watchmen character. And then there's a bunch of other people in costumes. There's the police with like the yellow bandanas over their faces. I think visually it looks very cool, very interesting. Don Johnson, heartbeat. Don Johnson coming in. I'm interested. I'm very curious. You're
intrigued.
I'm intrigued is an excellent word. I don't really know how it's going to turn out. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it's trying to do. I don't know like what its aspirations are. But I see enough interesting things that I'm willing to give this a go. I don't think it has a date set for it just yet, other than fall, so late in the year. But yeah, I don't know. It piques my interest enough. I'm definitely willing to give it a go. What about you? What do you think?
I've got HBO fatigue, if I'm going to be honest.
Well, I can't imagine why, but yeah. I'm told that the solution to that is to watch Barry season 2. That's what I hear. The word on the street is that if you want some actual good shit from HBO that maybe warrants keeping your subscription around, Barry season 2 is the way to go.
Okay, all right.
You weren't around for that conversation. As a side note, bucko. But both Henry and James very highly recommended season 2, and I've heard similar sentiments on the internet as well.
Then,
so
then I might take a dive on that. And it might refresh me.
I think we both need to do that to cleanse our palates, perhaps.
That's it. I was going to say the same thing. All right. Well, that's all I got for because I really like the graphic novel. It's definitely one of the best graphic novels I think I've ever read. It's an incredible book. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. They went in a different direction and stuff, but visually it shared a lot of similarities to the comic book. I remember just the color palettes and stuff. It was interesting. I remember thinking it was interesting. Like I said, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I like you say, I mean, if you're going to tell a story at post Watchmen, what direction do you take it in? Is the story worth telling? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Because it's almost I feel like the graphic novel, you could almost televise it in a way. It could be told in a televised fashion. I think it'd be
for sure. And I think that's what everyone expected when HBO, basically said they were doing a Watchmen series. Like, oh, they're going to make a TV adaptation of it,
which would be cool.
And I think they absolutely could have done that, and then maybe done this as a sequel. You thought you were just going to get the graphic novel. Oh no, we've got more in store. But this is interesting. It's a bold decision. To fucking just call it Watchmen, even though it's something that's not what we think of as Watchmen. You know, and you can have your opinions and such on Zack Snyder and his Watchmen adaptation, but it was definitively based on Watchmen. The graphic novel.
It was firmly based on it.
For what it did well and for things it didn't do well. It was absolutely Watchmen. So this one very well could be Watchmen. I think it'll be... I think it'll probably be a true Watchmen adaptation in the sense that Alan Moore will fucking hate it. As he does with anything that anything that gets any of his works that get adapted. I think that's probably going to be true. If he does like it, then I don't. I feel like that almost doesn't bode well. I don't know. I'd be weirded out. I wouldn't understand. I wouldn't understand it. But
that's where we're at on that.
Yeah, assuming I still have HBO at that point, which is there going to be some stuff worth sticking around for? Maybe. Have they disappointed us recently? It's entirely possible.
We'll talk about.
Have they really screwed the pooch in ways that are unforgivable? Maybe. I don't know. We'll also talk about it. But we're also going to talk about the last piece of news, another trailer, and I will issue a Tom Holland-esque warning that, much like this trailer, our conversation of it will almost certainly cover major spoilers for Avengers Endgame, for the 7 people in the entire world that have not seen Avengers Endgame. I have my doubts. Well, actually, I know my parents haven't seen it, so that's 2 out of 7 accounted for.
Oh, man.
So there you go.
I know a third. I know a third person who hasn't seen it.
All right, so you got 3 out of 7 accounted for, but
4, 5. I think I got 5 people. I think we've almost accounted for all 7.
No, I think so. I got 2. Or were you including my parents in those?
Nope. We got your 2.
So you got 2 plus 5. That's
Sarah.
It. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that haven't seen Avengers Endgame in the entire world. So it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, full spoilers for Avengers Endgame. There's just no way to dance around it. And clearly at a certain point, Sony was just like, yeah, we can't dance around what this movie's about, actually. So, first of all, this movie definitely takes place after Avengers Endgame, which is kind of a spoiler in and of itself because, hey, Spider-Man's alive. That's kind of a big deal. I think everyone assumed that was going to be the case, but now we know that for sure. And we know that it deals with a Peter Parker reeling from the death of his mentor, Tony Stark, who went out like a champ, but leaves Peter in a pretty precarious position. Trying to be Spider-Man, maybe a new Iron Man, but The trailer itself, very interesting. Lots of interesting things happening in it. You know, we already knew Fury was going to be involved, Maria Hill, Shield in some capacity or whatever. We got all that. Mysterio, we knew was going to be involved, but I don't think we knew shit about fucking multiverses and alternate dimensions and shit. I mean, it is Mysterio, and
could be bullshit.
He could totally be full of shit, and I think that would definitely be, you know, in line with how the character traditionally has been portrayed in the comics.
But then again, it would provide...
Pretty much his MO is just to make shit up, and, you know, basically everything that he does is mostly a smokescreen of some sort. And so I expect we'll see some variant of that here, but it would be cool. I mean, with the shenanigans that went down in Avengers Endgame, I think it totally makes sense to have some weird time fuckery and have things, you know, messed up. I mean, even like Baron Mordo and Doctor Strange, you think back to it when, like, you know, Doctor Strange did like one little thing, like changing time on. He's like, the bill comes due always. You know, he was all about that shit. He's like, don't fuck with that thing. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. And so I think there could be an element of that. And here, even if it's just a grain of the truth, I think there's still enough maybe truth to it that maybe that's what Marvel explores, and now their post-Endgame environment where maybe the world's been opened, maybe the universe has been opened up in this really, really fascinating, interesting way.
Maybe it's opened up a portal for a giant creature to come in, a devourer of worlds.
The Devourer of Worlds, yeah. Well, some legal rights have definitely cleared on that front. We know that for sure.
That's it.
Maybe there'll be a silver man riding a silver board.
I am the Herald of Galactus.
Heralding the arrival of one Galactus. That would be very cool.
Fucking cool.
I don't think we'll see that in Far From Home, but I like what I see from Far From Home. I think I gotta say Jake G looks great. I gotta say that Mysterio design is fucking aces. I love it. I think it looks great. Full fishbowl and everything it's fucking classic Mysterio. Like that's the way to adapt your shit. Like, and that's great. I love that.
Black spider suit.
Yeah, we got the stealth suit. Oh, we got the stealth suit, and we have the basically traditional Spidey suit, but with black instead of
it's cool.
Instead of the blue and the white kind of emblem on his chest. Very cool. MJ, we got Zendaya MJ. And I don't know, man. I've been on the record on this very podcast about how much I loved Homecoming, and I stand by that. It's one of my favorite MCU films.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this one looks interesting. I mean, the scope looks like it's stepping it up in a big way. The Elementals, you see like Molten Man, Hydro Man fucking shit up, and Mysterio going ham. Like, I don't know, like it really looks interesting. I'm really surprised by the direction of a lot of it. I mean, most of it we've known since the first trailer came out. I've kind of just been like, oh, really? That's okay. All right. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But I have confidence in Feige and Marvel Studios. They brought back John Watts to direct this back from Homecoming. So I mean, and it comes out in a month and a half's time, something like that. I think July 2nd.
That's awesome. Right around the corner.
So it's so soon. Like it's I really like what Marvel did this year. Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Far From Home. Which, to be fair, it's a Sony release, but it's a Marvel Studios movie at the same time. Like you're getting like 3 movies that are pretty. Even though I think they're obviously going to be separated enough that they're definitely standalone movies. Like Captain Marvel built in a pretty good way to Endgame, and I think Endgame obviously looks like it's really, really informing the characterization and Far From Home. So it's really smart. I mean,
it's a strong continuity.
I know we went on and 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 on about Avengers Endgame, but for good reason. I think Marvel really has done something spectacular. I mean, imagine long-form storytelling that pays off at the end. I mean, what a concept. What a concept. Can you imagine having like almost a decade invested in just like one particular brand, one particular franchise, something you really just, man, like these guys knocking it, they knock it out of the park year after year. And then they stick the landing.
Yeah, that's it.
And then they stick the landing. And they have the fucking tenacity to spend time writing something that makes sense. I mean, what?
What a concept.
I never.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I mean, what are we talking about? I don't know. There's no way to know. But we'll talk about it. That's the news this week. Went a little bit long, but we're having fun here. We're getting in the swing of things. But we got a movie to talk about on this episode. A little movie by the name of Pokémon Detective Pikachu. Written by Dan Hernandez, Benji Samit, Rob Letterman, and Derek Connolly. Directed by Rob Letterman, starring Ryan Reynolds. I only say that because he's not Danny DeVito. Although I will say, somewhat of a precursor to the review, I really liked Ryan Reynolds here.
No, he's totally good. It's totally fine.
Yeah, he's totally good. He's not Danny DeVito, and we'll come back to it in spoilers. I think what our thought from earlier. This is a flag for that again. But joining Ryan Reynolds in the cast, Justice Smith, Catherine Newton, Bill Nighy, and Ken Watanabe. So in a Pokemon Detective Pikachu, after Rhyme City detective Harry Goodman, or Harry Goodman, goes mysteriously missing, Harry's son Tim partners with Harry's former Pokemon partner, Detective Pikachu, to unravel the tangled mystery of Harry's disappearance. Stock box office. And I'm going to... That was a little Dayman just filtered into that a little bit, I think. Which the Danny DeVito connection is there, and
it is there.
So I think that's what my brain was trying
relevance.
to do. So Detective Pikachu in its first weekend when it came out a couple weeks after Endgame finished at number 2. It finished behind Avengers Endgame, which was in its third weekend at that point. But it still did pretty well for itself. $54.3 million opening weekend for Pikachu. As of when I wrote the script yesterday, it's probably a little bit more because there's probably a day missing that. It was at $96.8 million in its domestic total, which is pretty good overall. It'll definitely cross 100. I'm not sure what the budget on it was. Can't imagine too much because I think it looked really good for what it was, but I just didn't seem like a movie that it says $150 million. That's I don't know. It doesn't look like $150. Maybe it did. I don't know.
I have some interesting thoughts about that.
I didn't think the budget
expensive.
was that high for it, but
shit ton of money went in fucking advertising and shit, though. Or does that count?
Usually not factored into what the production budget's listed as. So,
anyways,
yeah, we'll see how it does in the long run. It's done all right overseas, pretty well actually. So it's at $292.9 million at the worldwide box office. So close to 300. I wouldn't say it's going to turn a major profit. I know there were some people thinking that the Pokemon hype train was going to carry this thing to $1 billion. That ain't happening. But I think it's doing all right. I can tell you that in terms of the domestic opening, it was the largest opening weekend ever for a video game adaptation movie. So
it's got that.
Notoriously, video game adaptations are shit. Usually they're terrible and obviously just don't tend to do very well, possibly because of how bad they are. But this one seems like it bucked the trend. Maybe in more ways than one. Maybe. I don't know. We'll get to it in just a second because I want to talk about Avengers Endgame because, I just like to talk about Avengers Endgame. What are you going to do? We had 3 hours of coverage and now we've got more. Deal with it. I just wanted to quickly touch base with its box office as of the weekend that Pikachu was released in. So we're a full week past that. We'll talk about that when we talk about John Wick, which came out the subsequent week. So third weekend, it finished number 1, $63.3 million, so almost $10 million ahead of Pikachu's debut. As of the end of its third weekend, it was at $723.5 million domestically, with a $2.485 billion tally worldwide. So $2.5 billion, not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Only good for I think the second biggest worldwide, and And I think as of that third weekend, it would have been number 3 domestically all time and number 2 worldwide all time. So we'll check back in with Avengers Endgame when we talk about John Wick. I'll tell you that now, and we'll probably continue to track it as it undertakes its quest to dethrone Avatar atop the all-time list.
Weather Channel updates for the hurricane.
That's right.
Endgame.
That's right. Yeah. every episode. Check back in.
Check back in.
Endgame watch. Endgame. It's like a little ticker on the bottom. That's what it is.
That's hilarious.
So that's what I got on the box office front, and I want to see what you got on the Detective Pikachu front. What'd you think, my friend?
So first thing I'd like to start off with is immediately the first thing that I did not like was the font used in the intro credits. I found that egregiously terrible. That might be petty. I don't know. Are you laughing because you noticed it and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, not enough to detract from my experience, but I was just kind of just like, oh, that's a little, okay. I did feel the same way. Like, aesthetically, it was just like not the way you should start a movie. Like, it's like, yeah, like that's your first reaction. It's just like, ooh, like, oh, video game movie. And so I totally get that. But it's that. It was probably seems like a bigger deal for you than me, perhaps. I was
just like, what the fuck is this? Out of all the fonts you could have chosen,
first impressions are everything, or something like that, right?
Yeah. So, anyways, I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was totally okay. And I haven't seen Justice Smith in a lot of movies, but out of the movies I have seen him in, this is definitely his best movie, I think.
Oh, are you saying that he was better in this than he was in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom? Because that is the mother of all hot takes if I've ever heard one.
What movie?
Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
He was in that movie.
He was the annoying ass kid that was trying to be funny the whole movie, but was hilariously unfunny the entire movie.
See, I don't even remember him. I just know he played in that movie with his dad, didn't he? With like post-apocalypse, they fly back to Earth. Their thing crashes on Earth. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's real bad.
I'm gonna keep humming that until I figure out what movie you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Let
me see here.
Oh, do you think he's Will Smith's kid? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's not Will Smith's kid.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Oh, at first I thought you were talking about After Earth, but that was with Jane Smith, who's one of the great scholars of all time on Twitter. So, different
Smith. Okay.
Yeah, different Smith. I found it initially questionable because I was just like, the optics of this not good. But his last name is Smith. So I all right. I'll
You may or may not edit this out.
I'll give you a pass for now. Yeah.
Well, moving on. I thought he was totally okay. I did enjoy Ryan Reynolds' Pikachu. I thought that was totally good. I enjoyed little Pokemons. Now, what I wanted to talk about is I didn't think the budget was going to be as high as it was because they worked the fuck out of the field of view in this movie. I don't know if you noticed that or not. At any given time, there was only like one particular, and I don't want to say one particular, but they reduced the amount of Pokemon that were in focus, like the entire movie. Like I said, it was a very close field of view throughout the whole thing, which I thought would have been a cost savings thing, but apparently not. It was just fucking expensive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and like the only reason, like I made, I think the CG looks pretty good.
I think so.
But the Pokemon are stylized in such a way that they do really look like what they're supposed to, like, or what they were kind of drawn up to look like in the games, with like realistic textures, like Charizard's scaly or Pikachu's furry, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like I think it all looks pretty good, but it doesn't look like hyper realistic in any way.
No.
And I don't think it's intended to. So I thought maybe by virtue of it being so stylized, as an artistic choice, that it wouldn't have necessitated such a high budget. I don't think it went to the cast. I mean, I'm sure Ryan Reynolds draws a pretty penny, probably a little bit more than Danny DeVito would have cost. Danny DeVito probably would have done this shit for free. But
hey,
but I mean, but
Hey, Tim, we're going to go find your dad.
Hey, Tim. I'm a Pikachu, and I can talk. You can hear me. You can fucking hear me.
Oh, it'd have been good. Anyways, it was a fun.
Hey, Tim. One of the things I like doing most is banging whores and drinking coffee. I like to drink coffee and bang whores.
He's just like a fucking raw detective, raw hardened fucking cop.
Yeah, I mean, so you got to let Danny DeVito just go for it. You got to let him go full DeVito.
It would have been great. One particular part would have been amazing if
anyway.
Yeah, moving on.
I know we actually were I think we were in the middle of talking about something, and then we got on the DeVito train again, so I apologize to our listeners. They're like, all right, we get it, guys. We get it. Should have been DeVito. But it should have been.
I really don't have a lot to say about it. I mean, it was a fun little, cute little movie. I'm thoroughly surprised it cost $100. I'm with you. Thought it would have cost less. But they did advertise the fuck out of it. I mean, the budget for fucking marketing must have been through the roof. Seems like it's everywhere. But soundtrack was cool. I enjoyed the soundtrack. It was hip, pretty fun. I don't know if I necessarily like the what am I looking for here? The climax of the movie. And like the angles they went with certain Pokemon.
Like what, the third act direction, you mean?
Yeah. Like it kind of went off the rails.
It went off the rails for sure. I agree with that. It was still entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but like plot wise, it's like, whoa, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the direction
we're going there. All right.
Yeah. So, but aside from that, that was pretty cool.
I think my point was that other than Ryan Reynolds, it's not like a big name type cast. Like, Bill Nighy, pretty well known actor, but probably not one that demands a massive salary. Ken Watanabe, respected actor as well, but still, like, beyond that, like Justice Smith. I mean, he's done a few things. Catherine Newton. Maybe done a few things. Like, they not like big, household type names other than Ryan Reynolds, I would say. So I feel like the budget really just pretty much had to go to the world,
CG.
To the CG and everything. So anyway, we've been harping on that for a while.
But I mean, it's a movie composed of like one of your main characters all CG. So you have to have a conversation about the fucking CG.
That's true for sure. Yeah.
Animation was cool.
They
were well animated Pokemons.
Yeah, and I will say that I liked this movie. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's probably barely a good one. But I think that as myself, and I think this probably goes for you as well, fans of the Pokemon franchise recognize probably most of the designs that, there's a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon that are used here. I think the novelty of seeing a live action fully realized Pokemon world is actually really fucking cool.
It is cool.
And I think that by staying true to the designs of the characters, I think that makes it really felt like a video game movie. And I think that was cool. I liked that they didn't lean away from that. Like Rhyme City felt like a fucking town that you would go visit, or I guess a city, you'd go visit, and maybe one of the later games was just like crazy shit going on, and even just the way that like the story was told, I think it's almost bad in like a storytelling, like a film storytelling type medium, but like especially like the first 15-20 minutes is very clunky exposition, like, and it felt like a video game tutorial.
Yeah, okay, I see where you're at.
And I was just like this is very clunky storytelling. A lot of just info dumps. Like, oh, you ride a train and here's 5 minutes about what's happening here. Here's what's this city. This is
right.
Rhyme City is all about this, baby. And here's some characters that are gonna come up again. I felt like that was a little whatever. Like it felt like they wanted to very deliberately get everyone on board with the world, as opposed to just people who are just like, Pokemon, I get it.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know that this movie has much appeal beyond it just being a novelty of Pokemon type stuff, because I think that doesn't. Like as good as Ryan Reynolds is as Pikachu, and as like I think they fucking nailed that character. Like I think Detective Pikachu, anytime is on screen, is fucking hilarious. There's a lot of like, one-liners, and just like the mannerisms of how they animated Pikachu were fucking great. The scene where he has all the clues spread out in the room, and like he just keeps knocking over the fucking cups. He's just like, coffee. Like I loved all that. But a lot of it, I think, really just feels like mostly just a novelty type thing. But I think, I've seen it twice. I saw it twice because I saw it opening weekend, and because of the recording schedule, I ended up seeing it again just so I had it a little bit fresher in my mind. And I enjoyed watching it a second time. It's not a long movie. I think that's a strength. It's pretty quick and to the point. I think that works well for it. The plot's a little topsy-turvy, a little twisty at times. And I think especially third act wise, it's kind of just like, okay, like, all right, okay. But, as a video game movie, I think it's a top tier video game adaptation. I mean, lowest of bars to clear, but like, we're talking about Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider, maybe. I think it's better than both of those. I'd say, at least I think it is. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's got fundamental filmmaking issues at its core, but it's got enough shine on it that fuck it. Like, especially if you have any affinity, maybe exclusively if you have any affinity for the Pokemon franchise, like
you're probably
cool
enjoy
to watch it. Yeah. Like Pikachu's fucking cool. You got some Charizard, and you've got some legitimately, I think, really entertaining sequences.
Definitely, that's
throughout the film that keep you engaged, keep you entertained, and keep you on your feet. I think it's a good kids movie as well because of its pacing, and it really actually interesting. I think maybe as a result of probably Ryan Reynolds ad-libbing his way probably in the recording booth, there's a lot of what's the word? Adult things
like a lot of adult themes that he talks about.
Yeah, there's a word that I'm missing. I'm pulling an Andrew right now.
That's okay,
everyone.
Happens, dude. I know where you're at, man. Know exactly where you're at right now.
It's not double entendre. It starts with an A, I think.
Yeah, you're definitely pulling a me now.
Fuck. God. This is what happens. This is what happens when you don't sleep very much and record a podcast. Is that how it
happens,
works?
Larry?
I may consult the expert on the matter. Anyway, did you say Larry or Harry? Because if you said Harry, I think that would have been very on point.
I said Harry.
Oh, very good.
No,
very
I
good.
didn't say
This
Harry.
is what happens, Harry. Good man.
I said Larry.
Well, I'll take
Harry,
your second.
good
I'll
man.
take your second
That's
take
funny.
of saying Harry and put it in there. God, that's gonna bother me. I'm gonna figure it out in like 20 minutes, or I'll figure it out on the next episode. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
But yes, as a result of him,
there's certain things of dialogue, like shit that's gonna fly over the kid's head,
right.
But it makes it funnier for adults. I'm just describing what I'm trying to say that I could have succinctly said with one fucking word. I know the word succinct, but I can't think of the fucking word that I want to say. Anyway, that's what I have. That's what I have for Detective Pikachu. Like I said, I liked it. I have issues with it, but on the whole, I mean, fun movie. Take your kids.
Take your kids. So is that your recommendation? See it in theaters?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far actually.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say if you like Pokemon, you could do a lot worse seeing things in theaters, or you could just go see Avengers if you haven't seen it already. I think, although I mean, it's definitely a more kid-friendlier movie than something like Avengers is, but that's still kid-friendly enough, even if it has mature things that happen in it. I would say based purely on the quality of the film itself, I would say it's a strong Blu-ray recommendation.
Yeah.
I think it's totally solid. I think it's totally fun. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's funny. But I just don't think it's not groundbreaking. It's not particularly amazing in any one significant way. But it's thoroughly enjoyable, man. So I think you could do a lot worse. I think seeing movies at the theater. but this isn't something I wouldn't think you need to rush out and see. And clearly,
I didn't rush out to see it.
The vast majority of people have agreed and said that we'll get around to it. I would be keen to see if they did like a more. I would like to see more Pokemon movies. I think that would be cool to see more live action movies. Like I think the tone, the aesthetic they established really feels true to the games. I think that's cool.
Maybe that's where some of that money went.
I think they could build off of it in a pretty meaningful way and do something a little bit more. Maybe closer to the anime or closer to like Red and Blue. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. But
they've already spent the money to have the fucking Pokemon designed.
And they spent a decent amount of money because we've talked about it now like 2,000 times. So yeah, for sure. So spoilers?
Full spoilers.
Full spoilers for Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the end, the reveal, which is absolutely what you're talking about.
God
right?
Mewtwo? Or are we talking about God Mewtwo, or are we jumping Danny DeVito split?
I was going to close the Danny DeVito loop.
Okay,
but we can do God Mewtwo.
It would have been fucking.
What do you
it would have
do?
been fucking incredible if Danny DeVito was Tim's dad.
Right.
That would have been.
So I fully expected as soon as I suspected it walking in that Pikachu was going to be like connected to his dad in some capacity.
Right.
I didn't quite know the logistics of how it was going to work until they got a little bit more into the plot. But as soon as they did not show, like they very deliberately made a point to not show who his dad was in like the various snippets that we saw him in, I was just like, it's totally Ryan Reynolds. It's totally Ryan Reynolds. I knew it for a fact. But it would have been a real fucking... What would have been cool is if he was Ryan Reynolds the whole time, but then he was still Danny DeVito at the end. Or if they just did it the other way around. Because actually, I take it back. That would be funny in like a what the fuck kind of way. I think what actually would have been pretty awesome is if they got Danny DeVito to do the voice, but then Ryan Reynolds was still the physical form of him. And I say that...
Hey, kid.
I say that because I get that they have an estranged relationship, but he didn't recognize his own dad's voice, and that seems kind of weird, doesn't it?
That does seem kind of weird, yeah.
Like, that seems like something that they could have just been like, oh, well, that's because he fucking sounds like Danny DeVito, you know? and Ryan Reynolds doesn't sound like Danny DeVito, two very distinct voices. It wouldn't have made sense. I mean, why would you bring Ryan Reynolds in for that one particular thing? They I don't know. I'm a broken record. It would have just been great if he was
just sitting there looking at his train ticket, and all of a sudden you hear, "Hey, kid!" And it's Danny DeVito wearing like a little fucking detective hat.
Detective hat. just Danny DeVito
with a big cup of coffee. Hey, kid.
5'3" glory, or however tall he is.
Oh, it would have been glorious.
Hey, kid. Wait, yeah, you want to stick around? I think I'd like that very much. Tim, I like that.
He just went straight into a Rick and Morty voice. Hey, Tim.
Tim. Hey, Tim, you wanna solve some crimes and shit? Tim. Hey, Tim.
Oh shit! So moving backwards from the very end of the movie to the point right before it, we have God Mewtwo, who's capable of mixing Pokemon, making humans disappear into their Pokemon, and
which is how Ryan Reynolds is Detective Pikachu, right? So yes.
What the fuck, dude?
It's pretty weird, isn't it?
I'm gonna put on this helmet and control Mewtwo and fly around and put them in their Pokemon. Just zap them. So they had to have the Team Rocket gas because the Team Rocket gas.
No, I get how it happened. I just what was the point? What was his end game? Like what was Bill Nye trying to achieve? Like he wanted the synergy between like humans and Pokemon. Like I get why he wanted to transfer his consciousness into a Pokemon because he was kind of had his body was failing him, I guess, and such. So
I think it was just a matter of Pokemon evolve and the human we evolve.
So it's the best of both worlds. It's like humans like
evolving.
Like the only way to bring humans into the future is just fucking make them Pokemon, man. Fucking weird. Some weird shit.
But the fucking the Ditto Man was great. I laughed my ass off.
Ditto
with
Man was pretty good. Yeah. You
think
think I won't hit a beady-eyed version of a girl I'm very attracted to?
That's pretty good.
I thought that was a pretty solid twist right there. I liked that.
Good. Just goes.
That was good.
Just got fucking. It was good. It was
Yeah,
good.
I liked that. I thought that was pretty solid. I thought that. Well, it's interesting. I mean, what they did with Mewtwo, I thought that was cool. They made like a reference to, Mewtwo broke out like 20 years ago in the Kanto region. I'm like, so the fucking first movie's canon, yo? That's some pretty badass shit.
Oh, was it? Is that the thing?
Yeah. Well, at least a variant of that story was kind of considered canon within this universe, which is very cool.
Didn't pay attention to that. Obviously, I didn't catch him 20 years ago. Fucker. I don't know what I caught.
Yeah, well, he got away. I don't remember what happened in the end of the first movie, but I remember it was an all-time classic, and I remember getting my Pokemon trading card at the movie theater and being a very, very proud little boy. Very proud little boy of my proud little Mewtwo trading card that I probably sold by now. Still worth a lot of money, surprisingly. Pokemon trading cards.
Yeah.
Very surprising.
Side note.
I figured at a certain point they kind of just fell off the cliff of being valuable. Like, everything has their day in the sun, and then it's just like, well. Okay.
You waited too long.
But it makes sense. I mean, Pokemon's a very popular franchise, one of the most popular video game franchises, I would think.
Yeah, sure.
Like statistically, in terms of what it's sold, sales numbers and such. So, but anyway, Mewtwo, that was cool. I liked that. I mean, I felt like the way that they slowly doled out the story was again kind of goes back to my complaints of filmmaking wise. Just wasn't that interesting, and I didn't think the movie was particularly clever about anything in its story. For something that is a mystery kind of thing, or at least masquerading as what is supposed to be a mystery, even though maybe it's more of a father-son bonding type story, as it turns out. I kind of felt like it would have been cool if there was more opportunity to kind of piece it together yourself instead of just being kind of spoon-fed it, drip by drip, to kind of fill you in, because there's no real way to know. Like, right off the bat, it's very much just as simple as car accident. And we know Mewtwo's there, but there's nothing in the Greninjas in the beginning. So, like, all of, like, the little things that, like, change how the events unfolded, there's no way to know that. There's no, like, the clues aren't there until it's just told to you outright. Which, that's for a kid's movie, fine, or whatever. But I just felt like it would have been, I think it would have been legitimately interesting if this fucking detective thing kind of thing was actually, like, really cleverly written as, like, a, pseudo murder mystery type thing.
What'd you think about the continent-sized
the Torterra Garden?
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was a fun little beat. I thought in terms of how they utilized the Pokemon, there was either like a funny, aspect to it, or there was like a real kind of. I'd say I think if there was any cleverness, it was in terms of the utilization of the Pokemon, where it was like an interesting wrinkle. Like Ditto was obviously like that's a fucking interesting wrinkle, to use that. The Torterra Garden, mostly I think just for the purposes of having a set piece where they roll around in a CG garden for a bit, have a bit of a rough and tumble.
Yeah.
Pikachu tanks a little fucking rock to his little poor little heart.
Oh.
His poor little little Pikachu. Oh, so cute.
So then he had the
cute little guy.
The Volt
Pika.
Volt Tackle or whatever. That was pretty cool.
Volt Tackle, yeah. So I mean, like they
I would have enjoyed
Pokemon.
one fucking strong Thunderbolt though, dude. Like one fucking pow, like just a fucking That would have been cool.
He did some sort. He used Thunderbolt towards the end at least once, and then he did the Volt Tackle separately. But I agree. I mean, it wasn't so much focused on Pikachu's battle prowess.
He threw it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of big Pokemon moves though.
Yeah, well, it had the whole Pokemon Stadium sequence with Charizard, which was pretty cool, and that kind of shenanigans that unfolded after everyone kind of got exposed to the gas in that sequence. The Greninjas were fucking being badass ninjas and shit, throwing some water shurikens and shit. It was pretty badass. I think I think the Mr. Mime sequence is an all-time classic.
Yeah,
I thought the way they did that was awesome.
Lock him in that room and set it on fire.
The cutaway with the gasoline. I mean, that's a dark fucking joke, is lighting his ass on fire, like, or dousing with gasoline and, holding the match up. Like, that was some pretty hardcore shit for a fucking
Mr.
kids
Mime
Pokemon
fainted.
movie.
They don't die, though. They always just faint. Remember that.
Yeah.
I was totally expecting.
Good
Go ahead.
side-out conclusion. Good side-out conclusion.
Oh, yeah.
You were totally expecting something?
I was when he gets hurt and they take little Pikachu into the mountain range. I was totally expecting to see a Chansey.
Yeah. That was my first thought, too.
Just
or
like
that they would go to a Pokemon Center and we would meet Nurse Joy. Yeah. I feel like, they got to capitalize. If they make another movie, they got to have a Nurse Joy, and then they go to another Pokemon Center, and there's another Nurse Joy.
And we need a Brock.
Officer Jenny. Got to have, like, 50 Officer Jennies, 50 Nurse Joys, Team Rocket. Like, you got to go for it. You got to do all. You got to hit on those classic notes, man. Like,
Gyarados was a badass.
Gyarados, that was a fucking cool moment. That was great. Yeah, like, there were some really cool, fun things that happened in this movie. I think like individual beats are really good. It's kind of the in between. It's the moments kind of connecting those things that are just kind of like, all right, we know what you were trying to get to.
It's just a Pokemon movie. Let it be a Pokemon movie.
Right, and so that's kind of where I'm at. Was like, I could fucking bitch about it all day, maybe, but like, I'm not going to. I don't care enough. It's charming enough. It's entertaining enough. I think what is lackluster about it isn't so egregiously bad that it has any sort of massive discernible impact on like how I feel about it. I thought like the lady Lucy, that character just didn't work.
The reporter girl.
Yeah, the reporter.
I had no idea.
Just kind of a nothing character. It was just like fuck, we need to have like a female character in this, and so it really kind of felt like they kind of slapdash something together. That said, I didn't think Tim was a particularly deep character either. I mean, I think none of the characters are deep at all. I mean, like Ken Watanabe, totally wasted. By the way, as the detective Yoshida. So I think characterization was not its strong suit in the slightest. I think it's a film that relies on just the novelty, the spectacle, and it's a movie for me that if it was anything else, maybe I'd be less forgiving of it because it's Pokemon. I'm just like, yeah, fine.
No, even if it's not, it's still entertaining enough movie. Even though it's a shallow and it's shallow and it I don't know. I feel like it's still entertaining. It's nothing. It's not a rich story or anything else, and you're not going to walk away feeling better about yourself or worse about yourself. But it's just an entertaining hour-and-a-half movie or however long it is. It's totally fun. Totally fine. Totally fine and fun.
Totally fine and fun. Mm-hmm. You heard it here first. That's all I got for spoilers, though. I don't really have much else. Well, yeah, I think that's it for me as well. Well, sir. Actually, you know what? I have one more thing I want to talk about in spoilers for Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I figured out what my fucking word was.
What's that word?
Innuendo.
Innuendos.
It's what I've been looking for probably now a half hour. People listening have probably been shouting at me for a half hour saying, innuendo, you fucking dumb motherfucker.
Does it start with an A?
So, no, it doesn't. It starts with an I. So that probably exacerbated the issue of me being a dumb motherfucker for everyone. So apologies to the folks listening at home. I am, in fact, a dumb motherfucker.
Hey, dude.
But that's it. That's it. That's what I got on the Pokemon, on the detective, on the Pikachu. And so now I ask you, sir, what have Game of Thrones aside, what have you been up to lately?
I finished American Gods.
Oh, so the season's over now?
Yeah, season's been over for a little bit. Okay. I was behind and I caught up and I finished it.
How does it stack up?
Stacks up totally okay. It's totally fine. It was had some weird stuff. It was a weird season and some crazy.
You finished
shit.
the book, right?
Did I finish the book? Yes.
Or got far enough that, like, presumably what you're watching, you can tell if it's like diverging from the book or something? Like,
it definitely diverged. It diverges in multiple spots. Like
Okay.
it kind of jumps around a little bit and stuff. But it's pretty good. Pretty good season. I'm happy I watched it, and I'll happily watch next season. At this point, I want to see where everything goes. And I think that's about all I've been up to. I started This Is Us, which is a really good show. I don't know if I talked to you about that, but it's pretty incredible. I think it's really well written. At least season 1 is. The pilot of that show was nuts. Super good. I think they're in season 3 or something like that now, season 3 or 4, so I'm pretty far behind, but I started that.
yeah, it's definitely a few seasons in. I'm not sure where either.
What else is there? Oh, I think that's really about it, honestly. So I did a thing. I might be going on a cruise, a little 3-dayer.
Oh.
Yeah, I might be going on a cruise to the Bahamas, which
Very
I don't
nice.
think they speak
Sounds like
Spanish, and I don't think they speak Spanish in the Bahamas, but the Bahamas sounds pretty cool, right? No, maybe not. Just the Bahamas. Anyways, I'm gonna be riding on a big ass boat there. At the end of July, I think. So what else is there? That's pretty much about it. I think that's pretty much all I've been up to, really. That's it. Yeah. What have you been up to, dude?
I went on a helicopter today. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Got a nice scenic view from above of Philadelphia and such.
Courtesy of the Coast Guard.
Indeed, yes, indeed.
Very nice.
And other than that, I think the biggest thing that I'd like to talk about is something that I previewed on the end of the Avengers episode. My brother Jordan, who was gracious enough to join us on that episode, to be a founding Avenger with us and talk Endgame with us. He flew out to Philadelphia for a few days and hung out with me, and we did a bunch of touristy type stuff. It was a lot of fun. It was actually probably pretty similar to what you and I did last summer when we flew up together. But
Did
he'd
you take
never
him
been
to Scrabble?
We didn't go to the Scrabble store. No,
Okay.
we actually. I mean, we did our we did our fair share of drinking and such, but not too much debauchery. I didn't think. Certainly no Catan-esque nights.
Shirt off on the
for either
floor.
party. Yeah. No passing out on the floor in the middle of a game of Catan. No, it was fun. I mean, like I said, a lot of just touristy stuff. We did the Independence area, Liberty Bell, explored a bit, did the art museum, Rocky Steps, Rocky Statue, ate a lot of cheesesteaks. Definitely ate some cheesesteaks. Had some damn good cheesesteaks. We did good. We went out to New York City for a day. Walked around. We walked 15 miles in Manhattan.
Oh my
around
goodness.
everywhere. My feet were fucking killing me the next day. But
How was he doing? He doesn't walk
there's-
like that normally, does he?
No, I don't think either of us do. So that was it was fun, but it was rough on the feet after a while there. But that was kind of the most fun we had. We watched one of the episodes of Game of Thrones together and had thoughts on it. Thoughts that will be entered into the record soon enough. And we also watched a Goofy movie together. I think.
Oh, that's
I
a
think
classic, dude.
Maybe the day before he flew out. Fucking classic Goofy movie. So
about the cheese whiz, they got the cheese whiz. In that one?
yeah, baby, give me that whiz. What I don't know what that guy's character's name is. He's got the whiz guy, Pauly Shore. He got Powerline, the Prince Michael Jackson-esque figure.
It's awesome. Haven't seen that movie in forever.
You got Goofy and Max.
Yeah.
Gee, Max. Gosh. Yep. Something's wrong here.
It's good.
Gosh. So it's so I joined the Disney Movie Club a while back, and it's a Disney Movie Club exclusive for the Blu-ray. So you have to be a member to even order it. So I got that, and I got its sequel, an extremely goofy movie, which I have not seen. I've never seen in my life, and I still have not seen it yet. So I'd like to watch that soon. Extremely goofy movie. I've heard it's pretty good. But I had a Goofy movie on VHS when I was a kid. I fucking loved it. And as soon as I saw that it was available on Blu-ray, I was just like, I gotta have it. And I gotta say, fucking holds up, dude. It's an all-time Disney classic for me. I mean, maybe it's a nostalgia kicking in, but I think it's so much fun. Love it.
It's a good one.
Absolutely love it. That's it. That's what I've been up to, for the most part. So I think that's it. I think that's it for the episode.
That's it for the episode.
Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, please spread the word. Patreon, we are on Patreon. I'm not going to get super gung-ho with it because we've kind of been slacking on the Game of Thrones front, but I can tell you that Season 5 is up there right now if you wanted to listen to it. I would say for the foreseeable future until we're through the Game of Thrones episodes, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do for bonus episodes beyond that. I don't think we're going to do anything quite as involved as that for some time. We'll probably keep it a little bit simpler, or at least more manageable timeline-wise. It's going to be probably worth it from the standpoint of if you want to listen to episodes earlier than everyone else. That's probably the biggest incentive that's going for it for now. So you can find it by heading to our website, watchreviewrepeat.com, premium tab in the top left, and then click the Become a Patron button. $2 a month. We're not asking a lot, and that gets you, pretty much almost immediate access to episodes as we record them. So that's not bad. That's not bad, because sometimes it takes a hot minute to get them out the door, as was the case with Avengers. For some reasons more than others, but it's out there. It's out there. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to listen to it. And hopefully you guys want to follow us on social media. That would be cool. We are on Twitter at WRRPod. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Watch, Review, Repeat. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can send those our way to our Gmail account, watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Intro and outro track, Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Next episode that we record is going to be on the latest release from this past weekend, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. We thought about doing a double feature with Detective Pikachu.
It would have been a 4-hour episode.
Would have been a little eclectic, but it was mostly in the interest of not having another 2-hour plus extravaganza. So we've kept this one, I think, relatively nice and tidy for you guys, and we hope you've enjoyed your time. We hope you enjoyed your stay here with Watch, Review, Repeat. I'm Danny DeVito, and this is Watch, Review, Repeat signing off.
Take care now. Bye then.
Laters on the hold on. Laters on the Midjay. I don't know.
That's it.
I don't know. Fuck it. Goodbye.